Right. An enthralling day's play, all right. But at the end of day four at Lords, you have to say England are slightly ahead there. India 181 for six. That's their score. 181 for six at stumps. India in their second innings after bad light forced the officials to call off play. But India are 154 runs ahead, which means this is now got all the settings of a very, very exciting end. This is, of course, play will now head to the fifth day tomorrow. But you'd have to say it's been a bit of a dogfight there in the middle. India lost their two openers early. KL Rahul perished early. Rohit Sharma got out early. Not too many runs from Virat Kohli again. But that partnership between Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane, 100 runs. However, they took their time. They took their time in that middle phase. Cheteshwar Pujara scoring 45. He got out after facing 206 deliveries for those 45 runs, only four boundaries. Ajinkya Rahane finally finding some rhythm, and he's now, as of now, the top scorer with 61. No, not too many from Ravindra Jadeja, but at stumps, India have Rishabh Pant and Ishant Sharma at the crease. We all know what Rishabh Pant is capable of. Ishant Sharma is no monk with the bat. 154 runs is the lead, and India would, of course, want to stretch it towards 200 and hopefully more than that. Now then, how's the game points? Three more sessions left in this game. It was a tense tussle. You saw that verbal exchange between Virat Kohli and James Anderson. There were some tense moments. No wickets for Anderson yet in the second innings, but Mark Wood, he has been absolutely brilliant. Three wickets for Mark Wood, two wickets for Moeen Ali. It's getting into that phase now where anything over 200 could be a pretty competitive total still. This is that kind of a test match, right? It's like we've been talking about it. There's no team really has been in complete command, has been completely on top. Nobody has had that daunting hold over the test match right from day one. 276 for three. Remember that number was what India went to stumps at on day one. On day two, quick blows from England, getting rid of KL Rahul, getting rid of Ajinkya Rahane, a partnership between Rishabh Pant and Ravindra Jadeja, setting India on course for the 364. Again, with England, Joe Root was that lone warrior with the bat, really, with help from Johnny Best on a couple of the lower order batsmen. But Joe Root's 180 not out and KL Rahul's 129 in the first innings. Those two innings stand out, as of course does Rohit Sharma's 83. So those are those have been the highlights with the bat. But this there have been some remarkable effort from the pacers as well. Ishant Sharma, Mohammad Siraj for India, Mohammad Shami, James Anderson in the first innings, Mark Wood in the second innings for England. So this is really tantalizing, really, really tantalizing now at the stage. 181 for six is what India have as of now, with four wickets in hand. What will be the Rishabh Pant's approach? Will he go hammer and tongs once play resumes on day five? Three sessions to go. How far will India stretch the lead? How far would they want to go to? And of course, if we've talked about plans. A lot of us were talking about target of 260, 270. That looks a little far off now. For now, plans can just fall apart in a matter of a couple of overs in Test cricket. You have these little battles, you have these little contests, one-on-one contests in Test cricket over a period of 5 days, 15 sessions, and that's what makes this format so very exciting. So that's the latest update then from Lords. At stumps, India on day four are 181 for six with a lead of 154 runs. How many will they add? How much more? How much longer can they bat on the final day? What sort of total will be a difficult total? Again, on day five, chasing has never been easy. It's still Test cricket. A lot of eyebrows were raised when Joe Root won the toss and decided to bowl first in these conditions. Of course, there was a bit of rain, a bit of drizzle on day one, which forced a late start. 15 minutes late was all it took. But nevertheless, questions were asked. Was it the right decision? In hindsight, it's not really cost England so far yet, but a lot could depend on how Rishabh Pant goes tomorrow. We all know what Rishabh Pant is capable of. Comes out, gets a few quick runs, and you never know with pressure of a with the pressure of runs on with the pressure of a chase on the final day. You never know what can happen. So some very interesting, it's an extremely interesting last day of play remaining. Questions again over Chiteshwar Pujara. He hasn't been getting enough runs. Took 206 balls for his 45 runs. Um, for a man not in form, for a batsman not in form, it was important for him to grind through. In effect, if you also look at the way this test match has shaped up, if you look at the weather conditions, if you look at the bad light, this is the second day that play has been hampered by bad weather. It was rain on the first day, late start, 15 minutes late. Again, on day four, bad light forced early stumps. It could be pretty crucial in the context of the game. But yes, you still have to look at Chiteshwar Pujara getting, maybe showing a little bit more, taking the onus a little bit more. 206 balls, but the added 100 runs for that second wicket, for the fourth wicket, that was the crucial factor. That was really the crucial factor. Virat Kohli was looking good, 20, 31 balls, four boundaries. He started off looking really good, didn't he? But well, unfortunately, couldn't add to his second innings score of 20. And then it was such a crucial partnership that between Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane. And thanks to the partnership, by the way, India still in that game. Imagine losing a wicket, losing both batsmen, Pujara and Rahane. I know there has been some chatter over Pujara's strike rate. There has been some chatter over whether they should have, put their foot on the pedal a little earlier. But think of this: two batsmen out of form, under pressure to score runs. There is also chatter of the fact whether they how much of a longer rope will these two get. But for them to put that partnership together, 100 runs, to put that partnership together was a pretty significant moment in this test match. They of course took their time. India were 3 for 55 when Virat Kohli fell in the 24th over. When Cheteshwar Pujara perished in the 73rd over, they had added about 100 runs. They had added 100 runs in about 50 overs. So that was slow going for certain. And then Cheteshwar Pujara fell soon after, with India reduced to 5 for 167 for 5. And then Ravindra Jadeja falling with the score at 175 for 6. That was a big blow because you would have expected Ravindra Jadeja and Rishabh Pant to get together and score some quick runs. But Rishabh Pant is at the crease. That's the good news for India. They don't, they're not out of the game yet. I don't think they're out of the game yet. 154 runs lead. Rishabh Pant comes out and gets some quick runs. You never know what can happen. That final day pressure, remember that final day pressure. Yes, you'd say Joe Root has been brilliant. You'd say he's got some decent support from Rory Burns in the first innings and as well as Johnny Bairstow. But remember, final day pressure can make you do funny things. A couple of comments. I'll take them quickly before I close. Rahane and Pujara, Naresh Jagatkari, if I'm getting your name right, says can now play 10 more test matches. Well, it all depends on how this pans out, really. But it was good in a sense to see that partnership. You saw those two really apply themselves. Pujara would have been disappointed with the way he got out in the first innings, as would Ajinkya Rahane. First ball of the day. Then on second day when he fell, and after surviving a very difficult phase on the opening day. So both these men would be happy with that partnership, and this is very important in the context of the game. Remember what I'm telling you. If they had lost another wicket at that stage, England would have been right on top, even with Rishabh Pant around. England would have been right on top. So this sort of set up a platform for Rishabh Pant to launch a bit of an attack tomorrow and try and see how close India can get to the 200 run lead. 200, 210 from here on could be pretty challenging. Bodhate Mandal, 2001 Kolkata Test can't be repeated. Pujara Rahane did not come up like Rahul VVS. Again, no, there are no comparisons, first of all. There are no comparisons to the Test match, to the context of the series. This is a 5-match series. India were trailing back then in 2001. They had lost the Mumbai Test match by an almighty margin, and Australia were by far the best test team in the world. That Australian team under Steve Waugh was one of the best test teams of all time. So there is no real comparison. India again were asked to follow on. VVS Lakshman and Rahul Dravid just pulled off a heist with that effort. That test match will go down probably in in history as one of the greatest tests to be ever played. So I don't think Buddhadev, your comparison stands here because of the context of the game. Well, yes, England had that slender lead. India failed to capitalize on exactly on that position on what should have been probably that lead could have been probably a little more with a few more wickets in hand. But anyway, that wasn't to happen. Aditya Agarwal, what are the odds according to you? I just said the odds are stacked probably slightly in more in favor of England because of the fact that India have lost 6 wickets. India now have Rishabh Pant, the only regular batsman in that lineup, alongside the tail. So the onus will be on Rishabh Pant to get and try and get a partnership with Ishant Sharma again, who's no mug with the bat. He can hold his end, and then hopefully Rishabh Pant explodes a little and tries and gets that lead closer to 200 or maybe slightly over 200, and then put England under pressure. But of course, India's paces will have to take those early wickets, right? That is absolute common sense, where you have to try and pick those early wickets and put England in a bit of a spot after taking that lead. Well, then that's that. England, then I'll just go through the scores again. India, 364 in the first innings. England responded with 391 runs, a lead of 27, slender lead of 27. And then India have now gone to stumps on the penultimate day, on day 4, at 181 for 6 with a lead of 154 runs with Rishabh Pant and Ishant Sharma at the crease. Ajinkya Rahane top scored with 61 and was involved in a 100-run partnership with Chiteshwar Pujara, who scored 45 of 206 runs. That's that then. Thank you so much for joining me on Sports Today. We'll of course come back to you with a lot more on day 5. This is going to be a very very exciting test match. This is looks like a very exciting finish. You never know what can happen on the final day of a test match. I'll keep saying that, and hopefully, as an Indian fan, keep my fingers crossed and hope for something really special tomorrow from Virat Kohli's men. Never say never, right? England are slightly ahead. You have to give it to them. Brilliant bowling spells, especially from Mark Wood, to put India under pressure. But then again, that 100-run partnership is so very important in the context of this game. Strike rate, intent, we can all discuss that later basis what happens in the game. But as of now, I can tell you that 100-run partnership was a very very significant moment for India in this match. Thank you so much for joining me live late in the evening. We'll bring you a lot more, but do subscribe to Sports Today. Stay tuned in for the best sports coverage from across different fields. Thank you. Have a very good night.